Yo, what up? Back at it again with another video. Today, my TAN talk is going to be on winning your pre-release and the things that you need to do to accomplish that. This is going to be an unbelievably long video for everybody over on Twitch. So first off, thanks for staying up with me. Second, if you're not over on my Twitch, twitch.tv/TamCardwell, come be a part of the conversation live as I record these videos. So what we're going to do is I want to do something that we haven't really done before in content creation for my hero. I want to talk stats. I want to talk numbers. I have put together this cute little slideshow that I get to make, and I've put some numbers on. And so I just want to chat to you guys about some of the numbers and what some of the numbers mean. So let's just get into it. So when you go to your pre-release, there are two ways to play. So they're going to give you a little box. It's going to have 6 packs in it and a pre-release card. It's going to say my hero. Boop. It's going to give it to everybody. You have two ways that you can play. You can play either sealed, which means that you're going to take all of your 6 packs, and those are your packs and your packs alone. And if you do decide to play sealed, which is the recommended way to play, inside of your 11 card packs, you'll have 10 cards that you can use, and then your 11th card is a character card. So you're going to have 6 characters to choose from. Your deck size, as opposed to the regular size decks, are going to be 40 cards minimum, and any card that you open in your pack is available to play. There is a chance that you can soft symbol chain, meaning that you only play cards that exist inside of your character's symbols, right? So if I open, let's say, Hiroshima 3, right? And I'm allowed to play any cards that I pull as long as they have the death symbol, the earth symbol, and the void symbol. I'm allowed to put those cards and put them in my deck. That is not the recommended way to play sealed. The way that Jaska recommends is any card you open, slam it, make it happen, put it in work. There is no card limit. So normally in the classic way to play universes, you get 4 cards. You get 4 copies of a card. You get 4 named copies. If I have 4 hardened fists, I can't put in a 5th. Well, if you open 5, you can play 5. You can play them all. Recommendations for sealed is you have a slightly higher attack ratio, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. So just like, if this is the only thing that you see, play more attack in your deck. It's not a 1/3, 2/3. It's a little more like I like 3/5. Like, I like to pump my decks with a little higher attack counts. And then last thing is you cycle 5 cards, removing instead of cycling 10 that you normally would if you run out of your deck from checking and drawing and all that jazz. The next big thing, the next way to play is drafting, right? So you take and you open up 1 pack at a time, right? So you got like 4 friends, 8 friends. You take and you open up your 1 pack at a time. You take your character card out, and that's yours. And then you can look at all 10 of your cards, and you pick whichever card you want to play. You take it out, you put it down. You take the other remaining cards, the 9 cards, and you pass it to the person next to you. Somebody else passes their 9 cards, since they took out their character and their card. They pass it to you. You fan out the 9 cards. You have a pile of 8, and you continue that. And you circle one way for 1 pack. You circle another way for the other pack, and you go until all 6 are gone. The same thing is you draft your character along with your first pick, 40 cards minimum. This you're allowed to hard symbol if you're like absolutely crazy hardcore, where you can only play 1 symbol like you do in regular universes. Again, I don't recommend that. I recommend actually going all the way back to soft symboling, where you only play cards that are on your character's face. So you can only put cards in your deck that, if we use Hiroshima 3, for example, is the death, earth, and void. You can have any of those cards in your deck. Again, no card limit. If you draft more copies of a card, how awesome. Again, slightly higher attack ratio, and then cycle 5. These are the 2 main ways, two main ways to play in a pre-release. This is it. And for anybody who is trepidatious or nervous about seal or draft, I cannot stress this enough. I believe that draft is the most fun way to play universes. I think that it is, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who would agree with me. Making the choices of like what do my attacks look like, what do my foundations look like, as soon as you know what you're doing, feels really, really good. And so as you are into your sealed in your draft, you just need to realize that your ratios need to be a little more 50-50, right? Like 30, a little more than slightly higher ratios need to be attacks rather than foundations and non-attacks, because the attack quality that you have is a little bit worse. But let's talk about it. Today's video and everything we're talking about today, I only want to talk about the commons and uncommons, right? That's the whole goal. And so what I have done is I have gone and I've looked at all of the non-character cards that are common and uncommon in the set. I've looked at the foundations, the attacks, the actions, the assets. These 4 card types. And these are the list of symbols that are represented inside of these card types, right? The highest symbol representing being obviously the evil symbol. We've got so many characters that have the evil symbol, especially in the back page, right? We've got the bullets back there who all have evil cards, right? But the thing that surprises me is we have the water symbol only coming in at 12 cards. I feel like they're missing a kit, or they have more rares and ultra rares inside of their kits to make up for the rares and ultra rare slots. So I just thought this was super interesting. So as you are drafting, you're gonna get to see if you decide to do that like soft symbol chaining. You have to play X amount of cards inside of your deck. This is an important graph to know that, like, if you let's say one of the a really good character that you could get would be somebody like Kendo Rappa, right? 21 evil cards, 17 fire cards, 18 order cards spread amongst everybody, right? And obviously there's overlap, right? Because, 4 of the 8 cards that we're going to talk about under those 3 symbols are Kendos. But I think that there's something to be said of, like, when you are going into the strategy of what am I going to do during pre-release weekend, this is something that you should keep in mind, right? I'm not going to see Amajiki's cards or Yohojo's cards nearly as much because technically there's less of them represented in the water symbol, right? We'll move. Keyword breakdowns. There's only 2 cards in the entire set at common or uncommon with the breaker keyword. There's only 4 cards with a combo keyword, 1 card with EX, 0 common or uncommon echoes or flashes. There's only 2 cards with powerful and 4 cards with stun. What does that mean? Keywords are not really going to be playing a big role when it comes to what you're looking at, right? People aren't going to be hitting big breakers unless it's on the cool card that they picked. So they're not going to breaker you over and over and over again. Obviously, this doesn't account for anything like, let's give this thing stun, or let's give this thing powerful, right? Midoriya 4 throws all of this out the window. But just on the raw cards themselves, if everything else is blank, there's not a ton of combo, or there's not a ton of breaker, there's not a ton of EX, no flash attacks. Nobody's going to get caught off guard with a flash attack unless it's a rare or higher. And then the block zones, I think, are really interesting, right? There's 23 high blocks, there's 23 mid blocks, and 19 low blocks. Interesting for all the common and uncommon. This is every action, asset, attack, and foundation. As we move into the attack lineup, oh no, you can't see. All right, I'll get rid of me. Goodbye. We've got the difficulties of the set. There are 3 difficulty cards, 2 3 diffs, 19 4 diffs, 5 5 diffs, and 1 6 diff. Right? When it comes to attacks. So your attacks are all basically going to be 4 diffs. Everybody's going to be stringing out 4 diff, 4 diff, 4 diff, 4 diff. 5 diff as their opener, 6 diff as their opener, and then slinging a bunch of 4s, which means that strings are going to be really, really good. There's not a ton of 5 diffs committing a bunch of foundations. And then I wanted to point out that obviously 4 damage, 5 damage are the most represented damages at 12 and 9 respectively. But funny, there's a 1 damage move, right? It's the fat gum, fat taxi, or whatever that card is, the throw that gets really big. And then there are 8 high attacks, 14 mid attacks, and 4 low attacks in your commons and uncommons, which is a fun thing to see, because when we go back, there's 19 low blocks in the whole set and 4 low attacks to deal with. Kind of good. And then block zones 9 8 9, which like feels good. but this number seems way higher for lows than this number represents, which means that the set is, you're going to need to save your low blocks for the rares and ultra rares that I'm not covering in this video. So like, go do your homework, go to UVS Ultra, and go check and make sure that that you know what attacks will be coming as we do it. I'm gonna put me back on. Boop. I was supposed to. That's the reason I was supposed to delete that. Yeah, here's the zones. I knew that was a mistake. That's okay. Here's the zones. 8 high attacks, 14 mid attacks, 4 lows, and then block zones are pretty even. Foundation info. There are only 3 0 diffs in the set. There is 13 1 diffs, 18 2 diffs, and 1 3 diff, which is the Bubble Girl card. And then their block mods are. Is this number incorrect? I think this number might be incorrect because this is the same as last time. 30, 40. Yeah, the block zones are incorrect. Let me go find those correct numbers. I'm so sorry, guys. This is just on foundations. How many highs? There are 12 highs, 14 mids, and 10 lows. So 12, 14, 12, 14, 10 are those correct numbers. I'm so sorry. Doing a lot of copy and pasting. So now what we're going to do is I have made the easy content, the simple stuff. Let's make a tier list, right? I want to go in and I want to actually talk about all of these cards, right? And I want to talk about which characters feel good, which cards feel good, as we go through the motion. Which is why at the very beginning of the video, you guys saw that I had Hiroshima pulled up, because that's what we're gonna start with. We're just gonna start with Hiroshima, right? So before we get into this, right, I'm gonna explain the tier list, and then we're gonna continue. It's broken up into 2 zones. I've got, is the character awesome, right? For limited, right? This is my little holding spot, right? Is the character awesome, fine, or bad? And then is the in your deck for the limited format, is it awesome, fine, or bad, right? So we can talk about Hiroshima. We'll put him in the holding cell. You guys can see him down here, and as we move on to other cards, we can move on. So a thing that I want to talk about real quick is I want to talk about the characters themselves, right? So as we look at Hiroshima, his ability that says your Fury or Punch attack is partially blocked, your rival loses 2 health. There's only 7 Fury attacks on his symbols, 6 Punch attacks on his symbols, and so there's 8 options total, right? Because there's punches that don't have Fury and Furies that don't have punches, and just put them together. And so when you look at the available options of attacks altogether, it is possible, right? And these are unique cards. It is possible that you don't have a full Fury or full Punch attack lineup as you go through. And I have these slides for everybody, but I just want to go through, and I want to look at his stuff. So first and foremost, if your Fury Punch is partially blocked, your rival loses 2 health, period. After you completely block this attack, he deals no damage. And then destroy 1 after it's completely blocked, your rival destroys 1. I like Hiroshima a lot in terms of the limited format, because I think Foundation Destruction is going to be very, very good, because the foundations that they have to play aren't very good. And so if you have a way to control the good ones, then like you're taking away important parts of their deck. As well as, I think if you can find enough Furies, specifically if you're drafting, right? I think inside of Sealed, he might be a little tough. I think Draft, he's an awesome character. Inside of Sealed, he's probably fine, because one of the ways that you get to make your Sealed play good, Sealed play enjoyable, is you have to take and turn your commons and uncommons and push them to be as good as the ultra rares, right? When you look at constructed decks and the games that we're used to playing, it is all about how do I turn this really, really awesome ultra rare and juice it. Well, in this format, it has to be how do I take my commons and uncommons and get the most out of them. And I think Hiroshima does an okay job at that if you have a really good pool. On a Hardened Fist, your rival destroys a face of foundation. You may build the top card of the deck committed. I think this card is pretty rad. I think the only thing this card has going for it is, truthfully, it's a low block, which we just saw is not that great inside the format versus other commons and uncommons, and it itself is a mid. And so, like, there's some issues here. It's a combo, which means it's a 5 diff, right? So that skews my data a little bit. And I think the bottom enhance is all but blank. This is kind of just like a pseudo blank 3 for 5 that has Hirošima's keywords on it. So I think it's fine, maybe even it's fine, maybe even bad. I'm gonna leave it in fine just because I'm sure there's gonna be some ultra rares that one low block is going to feel good for. Even just like putting it in your deck to hold as a low block is cool. If you happen to be Hiroshima, you get a lot out of it. But if not, like, it's just 5 damage. Let's hope you can sink something on. Red counter, if it's not completely blocked, it doesn't clear from the Cardwell in the end phase. That ability is not very good. The good part about this card is it's a 5 diff, 5 high for 5. That's the good part about this card, right? I think this is a very good card. It's a 2 mid block. It's an off-zone attack. It swings for 5. It has 2 very relevant keywords for characters. Response, remove after rival plays an attack. Its damage cannot be modified. Maybe that matters, right? Maybe you're playing against like a Fat Gum or a Midoriya or something along those lines that you're afraid of that. But I think that response is probably not going to be very useful, and you really want to keep your attacks in your deck because it's important. Facing danger. Enhance destroy changes attacks damage to 5. That's okay. Response flip after this card is committed due to rival effect. Unflip one of the foundation playable while committed. I think in limited, I think this card's going to be really, really awesome. I think that bottom response is very, very strong. It's incredible, truly. I think that this card is fantastic. It's got a 3 mid block, which is not that great, and it can save your life if somebody's trying to build up this big crazy move, right? We did see like there's 1 7 damage attack, right? And so like this thing can accidentally save your life if it's necessary, but I think that bottom response is really where it's at. Up next, Learning to Harden. I think this card is also very awesome for limited. Just the top enhance of commit this deck gets -2 speed or +2 damage is so good at that's where we find our juice, right? We take our stage and we apply it to these other cards. Commit Foundation for -2 speed has been a staple for all of universes. Normally they're on 1 diffs, but because we have that added bonus of enhanced commit, it gets +2 damage as well. Any attack gets +2 damage, means that you can actually try and close out the games. I would recommend picking if you're drafting, you want Learning to Harden. 2/5, 2 mid block, gives a damage pump, is speed hate. And if you happen to be under the death symbol and you can figure out how to destroy it, it feels good. It feels super, super good. Red Riot's the coolest. Enhance flip, this attack gets 2 damage, playable while committed. Incredible. Deadlock enhance, your attack with Harden or red in its name gets +1/+1. So this card is interesting. I think this card is fine, right? Effects wise. Flip +2 damage, playable while committed. I'm not a huge fan of, although it does let me kind of string out a little bit. Playable while committed, +2 damage feels good if I need to like end string, make something happen. Where this card really shines is the fact that it's just a 1 diff, right? It's a 1 diff damage pump for any attack, and then it does happen to have some deadlock pressure, which can be tough to come by in a limited format. And so for those reasons, I mean, it's a 1/5 that still does something every single game. Like I'd be so surprised if you don't go a game with Red Riot's the coolest still being face up on your board and you killed them. Normally we want to just like flip all and press all our buttons, right? Commit Learning the Hard, flip Red Riot's the coolest, and slam some damage on. So like look, so far all of Hirošima's cards look like pretty good to grab up. But let's talk about Fat Gum. Yeah. So Fat Gum's ability to enhance commit, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck is really, really awesome. I would be a little nervous as Fat Gum to mill yourself out, right? I'm every turn cycle, my turn, your turn, I'm committing and then looking and then getting rid of these cards. And so you're going to want to play your entire pool, right? If you are doing sealed, you just open all your packs and go, sweet, well, I found my deck, I'm playing Fat Gum. And if you're playing sealed, you really have to be very vigilant of, I want to snag these bonus characters. And you are not guaranteed to have a Fat Gum 2. And so that top static of the character might just not exist. So you need to make sure that your game plan is not, yo, I'm going to transform into Fat Gum 2 and win on my games that way. You need to have a proactive game plan while you're a 5 hand size 29 health character that is trying to build cards. There are 18 foundations and one asset, I guess I put an S on it, one asset that you're allowed to build off of Fat Gum's enhance, which is everything, right? Like there's so much. I think this character is very, very good. And mark my words now, the character that's going to win, like if you find Fat Gum and Fat Gum 2 in the same 6 packs, that person should win. They should win the tournament. They should just do it, right? They opened the good ones. There's gonna be so many. My first pack is gonna be, I'm gonna open a Fat Gum 2 and then be so devastated when I don't open a Fat Gum 1 in my 6 packs. But there it is. Let's see if his cards are worth it. So for him, I think this character is absolutely fantastic. When it comes to limited play, he probably could shove him down into fine, just because he doesn't actually pump anything on his face, but he does. If your deck is good enough, he gives you the tools needed. So I'm a big fan of Fat Gum. I like what he does, but we'll just have to see when it comes. Let's talk about Bad Guy Roundup, right? 4/3 low for 4. Here's our one of our 2 powerful moves. After you play this card, your rival discards a momentum. Huge. The rares and the ultra rares are going to be your momentum spenders. And so us having an uncommon that lets us get rid of my opponent's momentum is going to be massive. And if I have more ready foundations than my rival, I draw a card. So it's a low attack, one of the 4 low attacks in the commons and uncommons that draws you a card that discards one of your momentum, and it's a powerful outlet. I mean, this is just undeniably the best card we've seen so far in limited play. Every Bad Guy Roundup is going to feel so good to play. It's going to feel very, very good. This is one of the cards to play, and this is one of the reasons to play these 3 symbols, right? Whether it's like, I want to play Fat Gum. It doesn't have to be Fat Gum. It's any character that has Earth, Fire, or Good on it. I'm down to play. Fat Grapple. 5/3, 2 mid for 1. There's one of our 5 diffs as well. It's a 3 high block, bad block. Enhance. This attack gets 1 damage for each ready foundation in your stage, maximum 7, so it's an 8 damage throw. And then Deadlock Enhance, your next attack gets +5 speed. This card is also just incredible in sealed. There's very little throw hate. Yes, there's throw hate that exists, but it's tough to find, and even if so, they have to be playing those symbols, and like the sideboarding is weird. You only get what's in yours. Like, you don't get the choice to like go. Oh, I'll pick throw hate from home. You don't get that choice as you play what you open. I think this card is going to be all over the place. I think this card, if you put any other amount of stats on it, is going to feel fantastic. I'm a huge Fat Grapple fan when it comes to limited play. Big Appetite. Enhance flip, draw 1 card, discard 1 card, unless your rivals. Unless your character's hand size is less than your rivals, that's fine. If you open a 5-hander, I think it's gonna feel pretty good to play Big Appetite, but everybody else is gonna be so-so. And then the Fat Gum Enhance, remove the top card of your deck. If the removed card was a foundation, it gets +1 speed. In limited, we don't want to be removing any of these cards. We can't afford it. I'm gonna put this guy in bad. 2/5 to redraw. Unless you feel like you need the low block, which for the ultra attacks we haven't talked about, like, it's fine, but like it's not anything to really write home about. And then Surprise Interception, right? 1/5, 1 mid block. Response: commit a foundation after you block with this card. The blocked attack cannot be added to your rival's momentum this turn. I think this card is fine. What pushes it to awesome is just that one mid block, because I think it's really hard to find that bonus speed, so that the one mid block is like really, really punishing. It's a one mid block, one diff that I can just play out. So I'm gonna leave it in this is awesome for limited, strictly because one diff, one mid block. I don't know how relevant the response is going to be, except for like maybe in very specific matchups with like I'm playing against Amajiki, right? Like this card eats Amajiki alive, because like they just can't pick that one, right? Or like it stops throws from going to momentum. But like we have one EX card and two powerful cards. How much momentum denial do we really need, right? Up next, the strength of a pro. Enhance flip if you have 3 already foundations. Attack gets -3 speed. Enhance if you have 10 or less health. Gain 2. Play ball committed. This card's fantastic, right? It's incredible speed hate in a format that you're going to have less options. Speed hate, damage reduction, and then speed pump, damage pump are just good cards, right? Like because those are the ways that you push your commons and uncommons to being better than they are. I like the strength of a pro. I would very much be looking for that one. Let's talk about Midoriya. So, again, 7 free attacks, 5 punch attacks. You got 7 options total under all 3 of his symbols. It's gonna be very easy it's gonna be easy enough to find the furies and punches to go, right? It's going to be hard to make it a exclusively Fury and Punch deck, right? It's going to be even harder if there's any like combos or whatever. And again, we haven't even talked about rares and ultra rares, right? But like just looking at like if I got a deck full of commons and uncommons, Midoriya works. Midoriya is a character that does his thing. I can recommend you playing Midoriya in the event. I think that the character is probably somewhere in fine. The draw 3 is very good at just blocking, right? It's going to be very hard to lose with Midoriya. I think it might be difficult to string stuff together because you kind of have to have your board and your hand all work together. There's no way that I could possibly make him bad. He's not bad. There's no way. But he's probably fine at not losing the game. I think he's going to be tough to find stuff. Plummeting Punch. So this one is a little weird because this is a high attack that becomes a low attack. So that number 4 actually goes up to 5 because this is a card that's going to be all over the place. This is a common, right? I flip one foundation. I give them my move +2 speed. I change its zone to low. So now that gets to recolor all our evaluation of these cards, right? Maybe Big Appetite is now a fine card because it has a low block, right? We have to see whenever the set comes out and as we finish looking. I think a 4 diff 5 low for 4 that has a pretty good deadlock is good. It's got a 1 low block, so your plummeting punches block other plummeting punches. I think that I'm gonna leave it in fine for now, just because like I guess I'm not a huge fan of the card. It just says turn one of your foundations into note taking. And that's probably good enough for sealed, but it's not blowing my socks off, and I want to make these tier lists even, right? Rewind Smash. Another Punch Fury. It shares symbols with Hiroshima and Midoriya. How cool. Enhance its attack is blocked. Add the top card of your discard pile to your hand. That feels incredible. And then enhance. If you've discarded a card during this hand step, it gets stun 1. If an attack was discarded, your next attack gets 2 speed. This card, again, is probably just fine. The recursion enhance of if it's blocked, add it to the top card of your discard pile to your hand feels very good in exclusively Midoriya 4, right? In Midoriya 4, this feels really awesome. And everybody else, it's kind of just like a 4 damage move that is like fine, right? Unless you've got pumps like these two that you can make. Hey, this is a format for 8. Like you gotta eat 8. I'm not really sure what's going on to make it good, you know. Up next, Body Rejuvenation. 2/5/3 high block. After this, enters your discard pile. During the enhanced step, gain 2 health. So if it's destroyed or whatever, you get to do some cool stuff with it. And then E, discard a card. This attack gets -2 speed. This card is probably, honestly, like a little too good for limited play. I think being able to discard cards to give things -speed is very, very strong. I mean, it's an uncommon, right? So it's a little harder to get than like a regular, than just like, it's not in every pack, you know? But like, the people that are able to defend themselves with body rejuvenation versus the people without it, I think you're going to be able to see a big difference. The good symbol is going to block like no other, right? Like we've got pro hero and body rejuvenation just sitting next to each other on the tier list. I mean, it's just speed hate. It's just really good speed hate. Keeping Yuri safe. 0/5/2 mid block. Response once per turn after this card is committed due to rival's effect. Ready, playable while committed. Incredible. It's a 0 diff that does the thing. I'm gonna leave it where it is. If I do this, what happens? Yeah, that's fine. What happens if I do this? Will you sit there? You can sit there. You can kind of see it. Whatever. This card is incredible versus the slight stun that exists in the set. It's just like an insurance. It's also a 0 diff. It's got a 2 mid block. Like this card is just good, right? This card could see play in constructed play, and so putting it in limited just feels great. Up next, we have practical studies. I'm gonna put this back where it was. I'm good with it. I'm fine with it. Practical studies. If your rival has not lost health this turn, your attack gets -1 or the +1 speed, and then Deadlock Enhance, commit, seal a rival asset or foundation. Your attack gets +3. This card's great. This card's a super good sealed card. Sealed or draft. It's a 1 diff. It's a high block. A bad high block, but it just says that the first one, or maybe all of your moves, depending on if they block or not, depending on how they block, get that bonus, right? If they don't block, you scored the hit, you don't get the speed, your next ones might be a little worse. If they do block, it means that your next one also gets to retain the speed. So it continues to get speed. They have the card in their card pool. This card is rad. This is an incredible deadlock, a reusable deadlock ability of not that asset or foundation doesn't exist, and then the attack gets +3 speed. Incredible. Absolutely wonderful. Let's talk about Rappa. There are 4 punch attacks. 4 under his symbols. That is not very many. The reason to play this character is either I get a really cool rare or ultra rare, or I want to destroy a foundation, and after I block with one of my cool play one of my cool attacks, I get to do long strings. Playing mono punch Rappa doesn't really exist. It just doesn't. Yeah, he has 1 common and 1 uncommon punch out of his kit, and truthfully, they're not that great for him. Like, they're fine, but they're not that great for him. It's really gonna be like, how can I get the rest of the kit together in order to make my Rappa deck work? So for that reason, I'm gonna put him in fine. I still think him being able to string out long strings of attacks, his foundations all counting as bonuses whenever he wants to, he doesn't have to go in a deadlock. He can just destroy foundations, which puts more cards back in his deck, which makes his game plan more live. I like Rappa. He's the first character that I could drop into bad, and so he is teetering on this line because like his bottom response is so hard to get off. It's so hard to get off. So all he is just he's a check buff character. Is that enough to carry him through to the pre-release win? I don't know. But if you're playing Rappa, just be trepidatious about it. I'm gonna leave him in bad because there might be stuff. We'll talk about it. Flurry of punches. Talk about Flurry. Here's our EX move, right? Format for 4, EX2. It has punch charge. If I have 10 less health, it gets +2 damage. That's incredible. That's really, really good. And then enhance, your next one gets +2 difficulty, +3/+3. I like this card. It's probably in fine, right? It has EX2 and accidentally is a 6 damage move sometimes. If you can find out a way to pump any amount of damage on this card, this is going to be a splendid kill condition. The bottom enhance is a little risky to play, but you can play it. It probably deserves to be an awesome. just of like, I'm glad to open this. It's just hella mid. It feels like a really cool kill condition, but as a common, you're going to see a ton of it. And so like, this card's going to get blocked and blocked and blocked and blocked and blocked until you find that EX. There it is. Up next, we got Knuckle Sandwich, another 4-diff, one of our another low attack with a low block. They keep making these low attacks with low blocks. Knuckle Sandwiches are blocking Knuckle Sandwiches. It combos with a punch. Combo Enhance. This attack gets +2 speed. If your rival takes damage, this turn it gets +2 damage. Enhance. If your rival tries to block this with a non-attack card, the check gets -2. So if they hold foundations, it is tougher to block this. If they hold attacks, and they block with an attack card, it is easier to block. I think this is our first bad attack. The combo doesn't work at all. There are 4 punch attacks total in the set. Yes, you can make this card work, but this pound for pound, this card like isn't doing it for you. And it's a 4-diff, 4 low for 5 with a like, it's an off zone, right? Which off zone brings it up to fine. It's a low block, it's fine. It's so slow. It's so slow. If it was a 3 low for 5, I think I'd be in, right? 3 low for 5, give it a little pump. But the bottom enhance, letting my opponent make all the decisions here. I'm gonna leave it in bad. It's bad. It's not where we're at. Symbols don't matter for pre-release, though, right? Correct, but there are a total of 4 common and uncommon punch attacks. There's 4 total that you get to play. 4. And you have to open them or draft them, right? It's going to be... I guess symbols don't matter. Huh. Maybe my whole thing is wrong? Maybe I'm a goober. Did I mess that up? Hold on. Symbols don't matter. I guess that's if you're... soft symboling. If you soft symbol, that's what these are for. I didn't mention it. This is for soft symboling. What a goober. What a goober I am. Thought they do for draft. They do for draft. Yes. There's a reason that I did the thing. If we're drafting, symbols matter. Yes. Yeah. Kendo Rappa is a hard character to draft. Wowzers. I don't know what my brain was saying. Okay. Yeah. In sealed, you just take your whole thing and just slam it and run it. Looking for a challenge. I recommend drafting, though. My brain stopped. Thank you, chat. Thank you. Looking for a challenge. Response after this card is committed due to your rival's effect. Your next check gets +3, playable while committed. This card is... This card's good. This card's fine. Enhance commit. Your next check to player block with an attack. This card's fine. There's nothing to write home about. It's whatever. Lust for Battle. 1/5/3 mid block. Response remove after it enters your discard pile during the combat phase. Your rival's next check gets -1. So this card is interesting, right? Because this does say enters your discard pile during the combat phase, which means you're allowed to check it and activate this card's ability, right? It is not just after it's destroyed. It does not say during the enhanced step. It says during the combat phase. So I could play my check to play an attack. I lust for battle, give -1 to my check. So it's a fine card, right? It's a 0/5, or sorry, a 1/5 with a 3 mid block. This card is fine. There's better 1-diffs for sure. But this card is neat for like an accidental +1 speed randomly, right? Seasoned Brawler. I mean, this card is good. 1/5/2 high block. After they block with attack, draw a card, play a ball committed. It's got 3 words. It says draw 1 card. It's a spam. It's a 2 high block. It's just incredible. It's just nuts. Yeah, there's not much to say about Seasoned Brawler. If you see these ones, you probably want to grab them. Desiree. Desiree is wide open. I mean, she has no keyword restrictions on her, right? She doesn't say charge or range. She just says this attack gets -2 or +2. 7 hand size, 21 health character. This character is just good. This character, oh sorry, it needs to be up here. This character is just awesome. There's no reason not to play Desiree at the event. Moving on to Single Spiral. We've got a 3 high for 5. On a 4 diff, those are good stats. Lose a health. If it's blocked, draw 2, discard 2. It's got a 2 mid block. Again, this is just a great card. It being a 3 high for 5 damage is massive. If you have any amount of speed pump or damage pump, I mean, this feels very good, and it's got a really good block punish ability. If you block this, I'm going to do the thing. And its cost of lose 1 health is not very high. Lose 1 health to, if blocked, draw 2, discard 2 is just fantastic. Spiral Wave Surge, our first low block attack that's not a low itself. Charge Fury. Lose 1 health, this attack gets +2 damage. Enhance, if this attack is blocked, your next check to play a card gets +1 for each attack that you've blocked this turn. This card is the definition of fine. Lose 1 for +2 feels very good if you for sure can land a move, but otherwise, like, again, it's fine. It's fine. There's nothing really to write home about. 1 low block feels good, but there's probably other low blocks that you could be playing instead. And there's not very many low attacks, as we said. If blocked is kind of cool, but I like, you really don't want your stuff blocked. You just don't want it blocked. Nejire-chan of the big 3. 1/5/2 high block, enhance destroy foundation. Its attack gets 1 damage. If it's blocked, gain a health. Okay, that feels pretty good. I'm a big fan of this card. Destroy, get it. Wrathful Hammer, thank you for the rate of 7. Appreciate that, buddy. Hope you guys had a good stream. Destroy foundation. This deck gets 1 damage if it's blocked, gain a health. I mean, this is just a big damn if you do, damn if you don't kind of energy of, in a pre-release, it's so hard to get that health total down, and so anything that raises that health total back up is going to be incredibly important. So this card is fantastic. Agency trainees. Response commit, after your attack is blocked, build the next foundation you play this turn. I mean, deadlock response, after your attack is blocked, your rival commits 2 foundations. It's super late stun. It is after it's blocked, build 1. The issue is the foundations aren't like crazy high impact. This hurts my soul. This card's fine in pre-release. It's like in constructed, incredible. One of the best, one of my favorite cards to use in the whole thing. There's not really any breaker to deal with. There's not really any like on block. The foundations in your hand aren't going to be like so incredibly game breaking, right? I'm sure there's a couple, right? It's the reason it's not in bad. And it has that deadlock ability, which is very good. The low block kind of hurts it a little bit just due to lack of like common and common low blocks. Card's fine. Card's fine for pre-release. Constructed, eat it up. Surge. If you're playing a charger ranged attack package, if you have got a bomb that is a charger ranged, this card is the most important card you need to open inside of your kit. It's incredible. 2/5/1 mid block. Incredible. It's a great block. It's a great move. If you're playing ranged at all, it's very, very good. This card, if you're playing these cards, is fantastic. Otherwise, it's just bad, right? So, like, it has to be a fine card. It will be, you're going to lose to Surge at least at one point, or you're going to either lose or win with Surge at one point inside of your draft, just because it is so important to get that EX and make it happen. This is how you get to help kill people with bombs. Very, very rad. Like Midoriya is going to have a ranged Fury, give it powerful, give it EX2, dump his momentum, and then kill you with it. Like, that's what he's going to do, right? Moving on. We have Sir Naidai. Sir Naidai is wide open. All of his moves have tech and slam. I could have swore that this guy said your slam attack gets +1 speed. He just says your attack. You can play whatever moves you want. If we're drafting under all death and order, just play him. Just play him. There's no stats here. This character is going to be the reason that your pre-release takes so long. There's going to be some dweebs out there who are playing very minimum attack decks, playing as many foundations as possible, and they are going to be trying to mill you at pre-release. You have less cards. Because Sir Naidai exists in the format and he can be played, you 100% should make your deck as big as possible. A recommendation from me to you: don't play 40 cards. There's no reason to. There's no reason to play 40 cards. Your deck doesn't need to be consistent. Your deck needs to be big. It needs to have options. You need to not get milled out by Sir Naidai. Where does Naidai go? I mean, he's just very good in pre-release, right? Like he says that every time that you cycle, all those moves get +1 speed. He says that he gets to draw a card every time that either of us completely blocks. So his defense and his offense feels very impactful. And he is removing your foundation options from the game. It's very good. It's very good. Let's look at his cards though. We have Precision Seal Strike. Precision Seal Strike. Range Slam Tech. See, there's that slam word again. I could have swore they were all slams. Your rival reveals the top 3 cards of your deck. You may discard any cards revealed this way. Return the rest of the top of their deck in any order. This is a 4 diff, 3 mid for 5. I mean, just like, it's good. It's very mid. And then if your rival has 1 or more sealed foundations, change the attack of this zone. This card is borderline bad, probably fine. Borderline bad, probably fine. That top enhance can either set you up to make sure that if they have to block this 5 damage move, they're checking a 3, or you don't think they're gonna block. They don't have the cards to do so. You see an attack in 2 foundations. You discard the 2. You discard the attack. You stack the 2 foundations. Now that's 2 less attacks that they're going to draw against you. As a 5-hander, having 2/5 of your hands guaranteed to not be attack cards essentially means you skip your turn, unless those other 3/5 are nuts. So it's probably fine. I'm probably going to stick it in the bad category. Again, 1 low block is wasted on the card. It's whatever. Stamp Out. Stamp Out. So I didn't go and look, but I will now. Let's actually go look and see how many for draft, how many slams there are, to see how good this is. There are 8 slams inside of this. I'll just pan through them all real quick. There are 8 slams that Stamp Out can do it. Can do with it, which feels pretty good. We're gonna zoom back down. Zoom. Boop. And that enhance of remove the top card of the deck +2 damage feels very good on a 5 damage move, right? So this is a 2 mid for a 7, which feels great. And then after a card leaves your rival's deck during this enhanced step, this deck gets +2 speed. So if you have slams, this card feels amazing. If you don't, this card is bad. It's a 2 mid for 5 do nothing card. So I'm gonna leave it in awesome. I think there's going to be enough slams that you can play, even specifically under his symbols. Not to mention, I'm sure there are other slams under other symbols that you can make have happen. On the foundations, we've got All Might and Sir Naidai. 1/4/2 high block. Ally, first enhance your turn, commit at the top card of your rival's discard pile to their deck. That's bad. That's not good. That's not good. That's not a good ability. And then Deadlock Enhance, destroy Seal 2 rival foundations. It's crazy. This card's bad in constructed, and it's bad in sealed. It's a 1 diff, so I guess, but it's also a 4 check, which you have to be careful of. The fact that it's a first enhance is like where it's losing me. I'm sure if it wasn't a first enhance my turn, it'd be a little silly. Yeah, this is probably not that great. Yeah. All right, detailing the plan. This card is so lame. There's going to be somebody who opens 2 detailing the plans as an uncommon and Naidai, and their whole goal is just to mill you out. The response is really, really awesome. I mean, we already talked about the fact that the Fat Gum 5 diff 2 bid for 8 throw is going to be all over the place. Is one of the best cards that you can play, and so like the fact that we have detailing the plan to stop that feels really good. But this card's going to be really. This card is bad for the format, but is just because it says that start Naidai enhance. I'm gonna get a detail on the planet. It forces me and a Naidai, and I'm gonna have a really hard decision. Angel and Devil are gonna sit on my shoulder and be like, "You could just mill them out." You could just mill them out, though. Yeah. Foresight. Response after you play this card, look at the top card of your deck. Remove the top and look. This card's fine as well. Like, it's just the definition of fine. It doesn't have to exist in this format to, and if this card existed in the format, it'd be fine. There's no bad checks on any of our attacks, so it's probably in the bad category. The only thing this card has going for it is it's a 0 def. That's it, right? This card doesn't do anything exciting or insightful, for the sake of the game, right? It's just when I build this, I get to safety build on these 3 symbols, which might be enough, right? If this is the only low block in your deck, you're probably set. But at the same time, like, you want to build these and not block with these, so there is that. On to, so I'm gonna put up in fine. It's a 0 diff, and it's really tough to convince me that a 0 diff is bad. It's very, very hard to convince me a 0 diff is bad. Even things like Rooftop Vantage, it can't be bad. It's a 0 diff. All right, Amajiki. So let's take a look at what Amajiki's got going on. There's only 2 face-up attacks that he has available to him. Oh, you guys can't see it because of Amajiki's in the way. Whoop. There's only 2 face-up attacks that exist under Amajiki symbols, and it's his common and uncommon. With that said, Amajiki, I think, is a good character to play the game with. He's probably fine because there's not a lot of momentum hate, right? We had the bad guy roundup or whatever this card was called, but that's like the only momentum hate that we've seen so far. And so if they're not playing a bad guy roundup, you're gonna just be able to slam things in your momentum over and over and over again, and eventually you're gonna be like, this move has +8 damage. All right, your move has -8 damage. So you negate one of their attacks and make one of your attacks worth 1,000,000. If you want to talk about how to put ultra rare stats on cards, this is it, right? But you have to be able to play those attacks, and they have to exist in your momentum. And if they're in your momentum, that's less attacks for you to play. So it really is this balance of like, when do I put things in my momentum? When do I take them out? When do I push? When do I pull? What are my momentum outs in this deck? So I think this guy is very awesome to play, and I'm excited to play him in a draft, in a pre-release. My biggest issue with him is, are you going to go overboard? Are you going to be gluttonous with what you chomp on your momentum? There's the big question. All in all, he's probably in the fine category. It really depends on what does your card pool allow you to have. Up next, we've got Clawstopper, 4/3, 4 mid for 4, 2 mid block. Breaker, I mean, this is a breaker. It draws a card. It does the thing. I mean, this card's just an awesome card. And like this card is all around great. 4 mid for 4, 2 mid block. Draw a card, discard a card. If you got a momentum, draw a card. Just incredible. Just fantastic. Tentacle Grasp, 3 diff, 3 damage throw. Again, if you can put any amount of damage on it, it feels very good. If you put any amount of damage on it, it feels good. Otherwise, it's probably just fine. Maybe even bad. -1 speed once per turn is a good ability. The 4 mid block is not doing it any favors. It's probably just fine. We'll put it in the fine category for now. For now, it's fine. Adaptable. It is Adaptable's time to shine. It is Adaptable's time to shine. Enhance commit. This attack gets 1 speed for each momentum. Maximum 3. So enhance commit, my move gets +3 speed, is very, very good in draft. It's very, very good in draft. And then Deadlock Enhance flip. Your rival loses a health for each of your momentum. This effect cannot reduce your rival. It cannot kill them. This card is fantastic inside of draft. Enhance commit for +3 speed on the thing that I think is going to kill them is worth it. This is a reason to keep momentum with him now, right? I open a couple adaptables. I have Amajiki. I'm down to have my 3 momentum because I'm going to give this thing, +3 speed, +5 damage. Now I've got something that's worth it, Feels good. Self-doubt. After your attack deals no damage, your next check gets +1. This card's probably bad. There's nothing really special or exciting going on when it comes to this card. It's a 1 diff. That's probably the best thing that you've got going for it. But there's other things that you could probably be doing, like quality over quantity. If you need quantity, right? If you're playing something that requires you to build out massive, yeah, you could play self-doubt. But otherwise, nah. Sun Eater of the big three. It is Speed Hate, right? If we're putting this card up here because of Speed Hate, we're putting this card up here because it's Speed Hate. This card says flip -1 speed for each of my momentum. It is just a better version of what Tennokrafts has got going on because it's it's a foundation, right? It helps me pass checks. Yeah, it's good. It's good. All right, let's talk about Yohojo. Whoop. Yohojo, if you're doing a draft, has 4 attacks that he can play up out of his discard pile. 4. Actually, I think, no, even if you're playing sealed, he has 4 cards that you can play up out of your discard pile. So the only thing you really get to do with Yohojo is a 5-hander that says when you're at 10 less health, your moves get +1/+2, and then destroy foundation's attack gets -2 damage. With all of that said, this guy is bad if you really like the first form, right? He does say that you don't have to play the card, right? It says draw 2, discard 2, you may play 1. So you can do that ability and not have the card. You can do that ability and not even play the card out of your discard pile if you don't want to, right? If you just want to first form, dig 2, discard 2, and just like, hey, what does my hand look like now? What do I do? That feels pretty good. And then 10 less health, everything gets massive. I think there's going to be some really, really cool defensive setup plays for Yohojo. This is going to be a skilled Yohojo can beat a Desiree, right? It's going to be one of those instances of like, what do I actually, as Yohojo, how do I win the game? This is not a character I recommend any new players picking up. Don't pick up Yohojo. Don't pick up Rappa. Crystal Crash. Here's one of those slams, right? Stun 1, one of our first instances of stun. Discard the top 3 cards. Seal, one of their abilities can be played. It's a low attack with a 1 high block, which is huge. And then enhance if you've played a card from anywhere other than your hand's turn, it gets +1 speed, +1 damage. So this is fine. This might be very good in some of the other bullets. It's not very good in Yohojo. It's just like sometimes it's a 3 low for 7, which like when you put it in that context in Yohojo, it feels good. But I think this card is fine. It's a low attack. It's a 5 damage move. This might be the last low attack we get to talk about in the whole set, which is pretty funny. It's probably fine, maybe even closer to bad. Yeah. I will move on. Enhance, discard the top 3 cards of your deck. Your rival commits 1 foundation for each copy of Crystal Sword Cutter in your discard pile. So this card is one of those cool cards where it's going to shine the absolute best inside of the limited format. But the issue is that you have to draft a bunch of them. And are you down to draft a bunch of 4 diff, 4 mid for 4, 2 mid blocks that say in your 40 card minimum deck? You're milling 3, you're discarding the top 3. I think this card is still probably bad. It's just not quite doing enough. If it was for each copy of Crystal Sword Cutter in your discard pile or card pool, I'd be in, right? If it said those words as well, so like I could discard the top 3 for them to commit 1 because I played it. Sometimes it's commit 2, sometimes it's commit 3. I'm in, right? But this card just doesn't quite do enough, even in limited. Let's talk about Crystallize. 2/5, 2 low block. If this deck is +2 damage, if you're at 10 less health, it gets +1 damage. Enhance commit, essentially for +3 damage. It feels kind of good. Response remove. After this foundation is destroyed during the combat phase, your rival's next attack gets -2. Feels kind of good versus Hiroshima. Feels kind of good versus Tabe. Feels kind of good as Yohojo. Feels kind of mediocre everywhere else. I'm going to put it in the bad category. It is a significantly worse version of like the manly pose or learning to be manly or whatever this card's called. It's just a way worse version of what this guy's got going on. It's probably bad. It might be able to come up to fine depending on like what you want to do with it. I'm putting it in bad. Let's move on to human garbage. Human garbage. 1/5/3 a high block. Enhance once per turn. Remove a copy of human garbage from discard pile. Ready this foundation. Play ball committed. If you're down to draft, right? If you're down to just draft human garbages over and over and over and over and over again, you might have this like really cool human garbage deck. Otherwise, I know in my initial preview, I thought human garbage was very good. I think that might just be a relic of the past of like that's like old boomer Tam from UFS days being like, yo, human garbage is pretty cool. Rewriting your foundations is pretty cool. This card's not that good, guys. And I'm happy that I've come around and I've learned the difference. I think it's probably not that great. It's still a 1/5/3 high block. It's anti-stun, and which like doesn't really exist in the format in limited, and it is like a combo extender, right? If you got these symbols, 3 symbols, and you want to play a bunch of cards, right? If you're playing Rappa, this feels like a good card to get, right? Because I can have my human garbages, I can commit them both to pass a check. I play another thing and destroy one of my human garbages for +2 to my check. Remove a human garbage, ready it back. Like there's moves you can do with this card. It's fine. But like you're not gonna have 4 of them. You're just not going to, right? And there's the issue. It's going to be tough to have a bunch of human garbages, even as a common. And then our last one that we have here is we became more! Exclamation point. Enhance flip. If this attack was played from anywhere other than your hand, it gets +2 damage. Again, we've got no echoes that exist at this level, so all of these played from somewhere else cards have to all be coming from character cards, right? And so let's look at the ones that we have right now. This guy is in the bad category because he doesn't have enough punches to draft. This guy's in the bad category because he only has 4 cards that he can play out of. So this card is just bad, right? Maybe we can move it up as we look at other character cards, but this guy's not doing it, right? He might be in the fine category, but it's a 0/5, and that's all it's got going for it. I'm gonna put it in bad because I think that playing cards from other spots is going to be weird, right? I think it's going to be difficult. Again, rares and ultra rares get to disprove that. Let's talk more characters. Chronostasis. Under these 3 symbols, if you draft Chronostasis, you have a single breaker card, and you have 5 tech cards as your options. Under, again, drafting under these 3 symbols. Yeah, this guy is probably better. I know people are excited for this guy in Constructed. I'm not. He's probably bad to fine. The lose 2 health replay a card is probably really good if you can draft specifically for it. Just being allowed to like pay to replay if my opponent blocks is good. Is probably good enough. I'm gonna push him up to fine. They block my heavy-handed move. I pay my 2, I slam it down again. You have to have another block, not to mention everything else that I have. And he triggers all of these other play from other zone cards. This card's probably fine. I don't think that he's good. He's probably just fine. Yeah. Desiree. He's wide open, right? It just says this attack gets +2 speed, -2 speed, and after they make a check, add the check card to the momentum. Your rival rechecks. So this feels very good because if you remember, we had 1 EX and 2 powerful moves. It's going to be very hard to get rid of your momentum. There's going to be some amount of Desiree decks that are trying to mill you out by putting cards in your momentum and you not being able to utilize them. I think this character is going to be good inside of draft. I think it's going to be possible to actually find how you can kill somebody with this guy, because +2 speed on all of your moves and -2 speed on all of theirs is very good. It's just good. And not to mention, if it's blocked, your rival commits 1. Like, this is going to be good. Does not work in Constructed. Does work in Limited. Very awesome. Fat Gum 2. I said it once, I said it again. This is the best character in the kit. If you can open a Fat Gum 1 and a Fat Gum 2, you should win the game. I didn't make a slide for him because it's just Fat Gum, right? Like there's not a slide. But let's talk about the next guy. Hikigi Dengai. 625. Discard the top 3 cards of your deck. After an attack is played, you may play 1 non-attack ally card from your discard pile as your next card this turn. Enhance once per turn, your turn. If you have played a card from anywhere other than your hand this turn, your rival discards 1 card. This guy is not very good. He has 3 ally. So if you're drafting, he has 3 ally foundations, 1 ally action that you're allowed to play, and the common and uncommon slot. And I don't think his options get any better as he's doing it. This guy is not good. This guy is not good, and I don't even think this guy is just not good. This guy is very good at not losing, and that's his whole deal. Is he just doesn't want to lose. I don't see how this guy actually gets any games in constructed without just like, I'm just a 6 hand size character that gets to play the evil symbol. So I've just got options but like, why would you not? I've got 6 character options. I should never be stuck with 10 guy. I think he's not very good. Up next, we've got Lock. Whoop. Lock. Oh, did I miss one? Did I miss him? There's no way I missed him. Oh, there he is. He's in a weird order. That's weird. There are 17 non-ranged decks under his symbol and 1 card that says the word freeze. It does happen to have non-ranged on it as well. So like, I think Lock is incredibly playable. I think this guy's super good. This guy's got a ton of options for him. He's going to be locking people out of their best cards all over the place. He is, if I hit you, a late stun 1. It feels good. The only issue that we're going to have as Lock players is there's not a ton of stun. There just isn't. So you have to figure out how to get those foundations committed. And the answer is make them moves fast, make them hit hard, make them worth committing. Yeah. Onto Mimic. I'm so bummed that my slides are out of order. There's 1 asset that he can play, and it's the Taiyaki balls that say that like just it's the 6 check that says destroy to do the thing. This character is all but unplayable unless you are opening rares and ultra rares. This guy does not work in limited unless you are pulling. You have to both pull Mimic and you have to draft the very powerful assets that exist in the set, right? Nobody's going to pass you a Twisty Maze. Nobody's going to do that. Nobody's going to pass you a Mimicry. Nobody's going to do that. I think that those cards are going to be very, very high impact cards if people are really going to try and win the draft. So I think that Mimic is not a very good option to go for. Katsumi. He's wide open. In fact, this is one of the characters that I'm kind of afraid of. If the card pool has enough like off-zone moves, if he can play a non-mono mid deck, holding weird blocks for Katsumi is going to be huge. And then like once per turn, he gets to like just accidentally play another move. Feels very, very strong. It really, really depends on like what life gain stuff do I have. I think this guy is fine. I think it's all exclusively deck dependent. How good of a deck can I construct with Katsumi in mind? Up next, we've got. Did I miss him again? There's just a blank page. What is happening? So we've got Shin Nomoto. Under the things that he can draft, he's got 5 high attacks, 11 mids, 3 lows of options that he has available to him, which means that like naming mid most of the time is going to be good, and he's going to play these high attacks, these low attacks very, very cheap. He's going to play them very, very cheap. I like Shin inside of draft. I think Shin in draft is going to be a good character, just because I don't like him inside of constructed. I think this guy is very, very cool. Of like, I'll place this thing down, and you have to just be nervous. Did he pick the 6 diff? Did he find it? There's the question, right? Like, did he draft it? Like, if you see one go around and then you see it not leave, and a Shin pulls up, You name mid forever. You name mid forever and ever. And then my next one, Tabe, wide open. Tabe is super, super wide open. He just says that all your moves get +2 damage, and their checks get -1. You draw a card anytime that they swing. I think Tabe is fine. I think he's totally chill. It just depends on like what kind of a deck do you want to play. He's probably fine to awesome. I just don't think he's doing anything special for what this pre-release wants to do. And then lastly, we've got Toya, who there are only 2 weapons that he is allowed to draft. The two that are in the common uncommon slot. How sad for Toya. This is a cool character. This character is going to be at bare minimum fine, right? Just because, like, you know, if you opened a cool ultra rare, I'll play your cool ultra rare every single turn. Did you pull the secret? We pulled the secret. And so like that's gonna feel very good. And again, flip for +2 speed on every attack is a great use of your foundations. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna put him in awesome. I think this character is, if I open Toya, is probably who I'm gonna play, because stealing your secret rares is very good. It's just good. Yeah, there's no reason not to. We'll move on to the actions, assets, and the other cards. So we've got Barrier Shield, reduces speed to 0. Next card says Breaker 2. Kind of cool. And this guy, obviously, this card's fine in sealed. It's a good 2 high block. It's not as debilitating as like an Evil Gaze, where I selectively destroy one of your cards. But Breaker 2 can be a little tough. And then the bottom enhance, I think this is really cool for constructed. Not very good in limited. This card's fine. There's no way that you can say reduce this thing's speed to 0 when you have a card like Surge existing, and cards like Adaptable. Is that the name of this card? I think it is. That like are throwing a bunch of speed on stuff. Like, this card is just like a way to fight those cards. Maximum Hardening. Form, for the rest of your turn, your attacks get +2 damage, and then response after you block with it, big damage reduction. This card is great. Form +2 damage on all your moves is just a good ability. It just is. Being able to go, hey, I'm going to attempt to kill you this turn is good. And then -4 on the partial block says that, like, you can sometimes I will partial block a card, a 4 damage move. It goes to 0 and I build a card down. That feels great in limited. I block, it's both a full block and a partial block that gets to clear the card pool and build. And yeah, it's just good stuff. Good stuff. Taiyaki, this card is also fine. It's a 6 check, a 1-death asset that says this move gets +2/-2 damage, draw a card. There's probably no way that it's bad. It's fine. It might even be up here in the awesome category because it says the words draw a card. And accidentally, the asset like triggers off of Facom Amajiki Hiroshima, so Nido. This card's probably really good. Here's the asset that Mimic gets to play, hopefully a couple of, and it's an uncommon. So like again, this is like hashes against Mimic, like wanting to play stuff. Centicoil. Another low block slam common. Enhanced discard momentum. This attack gets 1 speed and 1 damage for each card in my rival's card pool. This card I think is one of the best attacks in the limited format. It's a 4-mid for 4 that gets scaling stats depending on how late in the chain it is. So if I can play this thing hyper late, right? Like Rappa this is how Rappa's gonna kill people. He's gonna go attack, and you blocked 3 of them, and then I'm going to go Centicoil, commit and destroy my foundations, discard my momentum, and slam it, play another one, and then do it again for +7/+7. This card is going to be one of the big killers. This is going to be one of the cards that I think you're going to have to pull out of your draft for sure. Up next, we've got Deadly Fire. I did not know that this was a common. I did not know that this is a common. Again, another 1 low block. They do not want the 4 low attacks that are in the game to hit you. Never happening. Low attacks suck because all these cool cards all have lows. This card's awesome. This card just has really cool abilities. It's neat. If its speed is 7 or more, you lose 3 health. Very tough to do if you play from anywhere other than your hand. Draw a card. Very tough to do. This card is just a 6 diff 4 mid for 7. If you can, like under the air symbol, right? Like these two cards share air. So if your character has the air symbol, you can play both of these together, which you get your 3 momentum. It's now commit, they burn 3, and then it's a 7 for 7. So as a 7 diff 7 for 7, like you're adaptable into deadly fires, like there's a tactic for you to like utilize what's going on. We've got Foresight, another low block. Look at the top card of your deck. You may discard it. Incredible and sealed. It's also an off zone for high for 4. Enhance, name a card type. Your rival reveals the top card of the deck. If the revealed card matches the named type, draw a card. That's fine. It's fine. It's another low block. There aren't too many low attacks. It's a 4 high for 4, which are decent stats on a 4. The best part about this card is you get to look at the top card of your deck and you can discard it. I know what I'm gonna check, right? It's just like destined for mainstream success. Hey, I'm gonna name a tag, hoping that there's a foundation on top. I don't want to draw an attack. I want to draw a foundation. So this card is probably fine to like the very, very bottom of awesome. We're gonna leave it at fine for now. Hair Razor Slash. I'm gonna get crazy with it. This card's fine in limited. This card's fine in draft. This card's a 2 high block, which is great on attack. It's a 2 high for 3. It's a 0 high for 5, super late in a chain. If my opponent doesn't have any cards in their hand because they've blocked with them or whatever, you play 2 of these and you slam them for 10 damage real quick as a 3 difficulty. That is good exchange rate inside of draft. This is a good draft card. It is. You have to figure out how to utilize it, and it's very easy to mess up using this card, but it's a good card. Insatiable Appetite. Top Enhance. Add a rival momentum to their card pool, period. A little bummed that this says Tabe Enhance. I kind of wish that these 3 symbols just had access to the momentum hate inside of draft. I think that's important. And then Enhance, it gets 2 speed and 1 damage for each card that's left my rival's card pool this turn. This card's not very good. It's off zone, and that's like the only thing this card's got going for it. It's an off zone card that like is a 2 mid block. It wears stats fine. I don't know how many cards are going to be leaving your card pool unless you're Tabe, right? Like as we come up here, like no, yes, no. Yes, if you're Rappa and you replay the punch, but that's offensively, so that doesn't work. So no. Maybe this guy? Maybe he has some remove cards? Yeah, this card is just 4 diff, 3 high for 4. Deal with it. Unless you're Tabe, in which case the momentum enhance is very good. If you're Tabe, this card instantly is like the best attack in your deck, obviously. It's got your big dumb face on it. Lockdown, Knockdown. 4/3, 2 low block. 3 high for 4. Stun 1. I think it's our second stun card. Enhance. Commit 1 foundation. This deck gets +1 damage and +1 stun rating. So this is a 4, basically 5 diff. 3 high for 5 with stun 2. This is a good card. Having stun 2 on your foundation or your attack is good. Committing a bad face down foundation for an extra damage and stun, it's super great. It's good. I have the hiccups. I need to stop. Whew. Next one. Locked Up. 5/3. 1 mid for 4. Stun 1. Lock stun 1. If you open this card and lock, I just suggest you playing it. Punch Slam. If it deals damage, freeze the foundation. So here's that freeze card we talked about when we looked at lock screen. Discard a momentum. It gets a speed for each committed rival foundation. And so like I can guarantee I hit you for 4. This card's fine. This card's got stun 1, and if it hits freeze the card that was stunned, it's a 5 diff 4 mid for 4. So unless you can add some amount of stats on it, it's gonna exist in the fine category. It's probably actually belongs down. It actually, if you're not lock, this card probably belongs down here. This card just doesn't do enough as a 5 diff. Even as an opener, just like it's just stun 1, and I might freeze a thing. I might freeze the face down foundation. Neato. Piercing Barrage. Piercing Barrage combos with a 3 damage attack. Combo enhance. This attack gets 3 damage. So this is a common. If they have a ton, just a ton of 3 damage moves, swing them. We're gonna play so many Piercing Barrages, but we don't, right? Like they don't exist. Let's go look up, right? Under these 3 symbols, which are Air Chaos Void, 3 damage move. We have, under Chaos, we have Tentacle Grasp and Piercing Barrage as our 3 damage moves. So unless this card might see play in draft as a 3 mid for 3, then 3 mid for 6, and then continue. Like if you can find 100 Piercing Barrages, that's fine. Good 1 high block. Otherwise, the card's just not going to make it happen. Yeah, this card's just not it. Up next, Point Blank Shot, 4/3, 3 mid block, 2 high for 5. Again, great stats. It has Breaker 1, Powerful 2, incredible. While it's in your card pool, your attacks get 1 speed, your rival attacks get plus or minus 2 speed. Nuts. And then if it was played from anywhere other than your hand, it can be blocked by, I think it was great. This card is one of these snap pick uncommons, I think. Yeah, it's a 3 mid block, but it's got the Breaker 1. It has a momentum out, and it says all of your moves get plus 1 speed, which is like a little tough to find, right? It says that as I'm stringing out, this card is incredible for a character like Rappa, right? Like Rappa wants as many point blank shots as possible. This card feels good. Up next, we've got Vital Impact, 5/3, 1 high block, 4 low for 5. Just those stats alone feels very good. Like a 5 diff, 4 low for 5. Lose 2 health, gain 3 health. If this is your first attack this turn, it gets plus 2 speed. It's a 5 diff, 6 low for 5. Feels incredible. Feels very good. And then if I have played a card from anywhere, against Powerful 3, so another momentum out if we necessarily need it. I like this card a lot. I think it's got a good 1 high block. I think it is off zone. I think that it gets fast as the opener. I think Vital Impact is going to make an impact. Sorry for that. Bubble Distraction. 3 diff, it gets plus X or minus X damage. X equals block modifier. This card is good as long as you're down to play the 3 diff, which you should be. It's limited. You should be playing more 3 diffs if possible. Being able to commit for, minus 3 damage on your point blank shots feels pretty good, or plus 3 damage on your point blank shots. This being modular, being plus or minus depending on what it is, feels good. Even if it's like commit for plus 2 unlocked up, it's commit for minus 2 on Insatiable Bite. Like commit for plus 2 is not bad. Centicoil, getting your extra stats on it, that feels pretty okay. I like Bubble Distraction. I'm into it. Confession. Form. Once per turn, your rival discards a card and draws a card. If the discarded card was not an attack, they lose a health. This is how you get to ping your opponent to death. 1,000 cuts. I'm going to Confession over and over. And it also has got this really awesome Deadlock ability that says when you know your opponent's 40 card limited deck, you go, hey, that card that I'm afraid of, you can't block with it. Beautiful. Energy Suction. This is undeniably the best low block that we have. We get to put it here in the awesome category. Doesn't count to progressively attacks. While it's in your card pool, it deals damage and you gain a health and you get to redraw. You can it's 1/5, 1/2 low block. This is the best low block that you have in your deck. If you want low blocks in your deck and you're afraid of the low attacks, this is the one you want in limited. Food. 2/5, 2 or 3 high block. Idiots flip, remove 1 on attack, a card from rival's card pool, gain 2 health. If your rival has no cards in their card pool, this attack gets +1 speed. So I like this card a lot for this bottom enhance. The top enhance is not very good. I'm going to put it in the fine category. I think if you can find a couple of these foods and just like add them in, it just says that like if you have any amount of they commit cards or a little more speed pump, this could just be the thing that pushes it just up and over the edge of like, oh, I need some amount of stat pump in my deck. Food is what does it. Last couple cards, we got Heroic Assistance. After one of my foundations is committed due to rebel effect, ready to. It's fine. There's not a ton of stun happening in this format, so it's probably not that great. And then Deadlock Enhance, look at their hand. You can change the zone. It's probably fine because it's actually probably bad because of the limited stunning that's going to happen. The best thing about this card is it's a 2-high block, so like it's going to be held for a block more than it's going to be held for anything. But the Deadlock ability is very, very strong. If your opponent goes to 11 versus you with Heroic Assistance on the board, you're going to kill them because you're just going to look at their hand and change the zone of your powerful move, and then change the zone of your Centicoil and murder them for it. Feels pretty good. Intense. I'm actually put it back in the bad category. This card's not that great for draft. Intense Stare. I think everybody should have one of this card in their deck because it's very good. 4 months per turn. Discard one or more cards. Commit one of their cool cards that you need. Getting rid of some committed cards feels good. It also commits assets accidentally. So if you're nervous about twisty hallways or whatever, just take in Form Intense Stare, discard my 2 cards, commit it, and just be like, I don't care about that card. You don't get the -2 to my check because I discarded 2 cards, because this is one non-character card in their stage, so that feels good. Larceny's in the kind of the same boat as Energy Suction, as just like it's a 1/5 low block that has a pretty decent okay ability if you happen to find it. It's probably in the fine category, maybe even in the bad category. Again, it's very tough. It's a 1/5 low block. Those are great stats as long as you're afraid of low blocks. And then it's blanketed +1/-1 if my opponent is doing some crazy stuff. Feels decent enough. It could be the thing that either squeaks you the win or saves your life. Feels incredible if because Tabe is so good. Or not Tabe, whatever this guy's name is. This guy, Mosquito Boy. Look at this! Enhance Commit. Reveal 1 foundation in your hand. This attack gets +X speed. X equals the printed difficulty of the revealed card. Enhance Commit. Show you a 2 block. Play it. Or if you happen to find no time wasted, even though they don't share symbols, but your character could. It could be Commit for +4 speed. I like look at this in sealed just because it is +2 speed whenever I need it. I'm down to commit a foundation, show you a foundation that I'm going to play or block with, put it back in my hand, and then call it good. This card is good. It's in the similar vein as what like Adaptable is doing, but with a little with even less setup. No time to waste. Form Commit. Commit 1 rival foundation or asset. Enhance Destroy. This attack gets -3 speed. Playable while committed with a 1 mid block. This card is great. This card is super, super good. I think people are going to be shied away by the 4 difficulty on No Time to Waste. This card is going to win games over and over and over, either by the selective committal or by destroying for the -3 speed playable while committed. Going to be, and the 1 mid block, you got to get over the fact that it's a 4 diff. You just got to get over, especially in draft. This card could be like a snap pick for draft. It's very awesome. Resigned. 2/5 2 mid block. Here's one of the ally cards that he's allowed to play. Enhanced card pool removed. This deck gets +3 or -2 damage. So I like this card. I think this card is fine. It has a lot of hoops to jump through in order to get +3 damage. So it really kind of says after I block with this, the next one gets -2 damage, which I don't think is bad on a 2 mid block. Like this is worth it to just keep you alive. It's a fine card. Saying my next attack has +1 difficulty in order to give it +3 damage could be the thing that wins you the game. And it's not a 2/5 2 mid block. Like it's not bad, right? Sloshed, a unique uncommon, which I think is really interesting. 2/5 low block. Enhance Commit. Your next check this turn gets +X. X equals your rival's momentum. Responds once per turn. After rival makes a recheck, that check gets -1. If you happen to pull Sloshed and Data Ray or whatever, Beta Ray Bill, if you happen to pull them both in the same card pool, or you draft specifically for them, this card is very, very, very good for you. your next check gets plus X. X equals your rival's momentum. It's possible you load them up with like plus 5 momentum. You can play things super lit on a chain. It should have had some sort of damage pump equal to the momentum. I'll say it. Sad. This card could have been so much cooler, but it's okay. And then last one, support a friend. Enhance. This attack gets plus 2 speed. Your next attack gets plus 1 damage. This card's good. Yeah, flip for plus 1 speed is not bad whenever we're trying to find these incremental advantage type things. And then the Deadlock Enhance of Destroy, draw 2, play a ball committed is also just wonderful. So there it is. Here is a quick snapshot. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. Here's a quick snapshot of what my tier list looks like when it comes to what you should be doing with drafting at your pre-release. Sorry at the very beginning of the video that it was a little awkward of like, should you draft, should you sealed? I made all of these with draft in mind because it is the way that I think you should be playing your pre-release. You should be drafting if you have any experience. Otherwise, just take your 60 cards and play the best ones. Yeah, these are the good ones, right? It's being the best one. Boop. This guy's just the best. Put it back where it was. The fine characters and the characters that I would probably avoid. You probably should put Rappa up here, truthfully. I think that this is where it's at. And this guy's probably in the bottom of fine. I think that these guys are just bad. This is probably a little more accurate to where they are in sealed, sealed or draft, limited play. Yeah. And then here's the cards that you should look out for when you are drafting. Here, I'll get rid of my window so you can see everything. One second. When you are oh, hello. When you are doing limited, these are the cards that you want to look out for. Right? These are the cards that I think are very good in pretty much every deck, and then the cards that are okay in most decks, and the cards that you should probably avoid or probably just like aren't worth it per se. With that, you guys, if you like my list and you want to, and you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments down below. I would love to have a bit of a conversation with you guys, and good luck at your pre-releases. Get all of your awesome set 5 cards so that you can go play in some more competitive events, like the Unfun Stuff RLE happening online. It's gonna be the first RLE legal to be played with Undaunted raid. So if you like that, go check out in the description down below. I've got a link to that event as well as so much more if you want to indoctrinate yourself into the community. Again, thank you much for watching, you guys. As always, I wish you well.